Welcome to today's video where we'll be diving into the deliciously catchy soundtrack of Pizza Tower. This indie game has been making waves in the gaming community not only for its charming retro-style graphics and addictive gameplay, but also for its upbeat and memorable tunes that have been stuck in our heads for days. Join me as we explore the musical world of Pizza Tower and discover the magic behind its iconic soundtrack. Here's a track called The Death That I Deserve Violi. Love the pun. Giving me a lot of DuckTales Moon vibes right here, just because of the sound font and the arpeggio style. That phasing effect, oh my god, so good for building up. This is such a bop. This is so good. I love this. Oh my god, this beat, this tempo, and this style of melody, giving me a little bit of Bone Trossel vibes from Undertale, but also, oh my god, it kind of feels like 90s speed rock. I don't know why. It must be that electric guitar mix that was used. I don't know. It sounds very 90s. And I love it. I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up in the 90s. It's so this kind of sound font, this kind of sound combination, very familiar with me. I like what they did with this soundtrack. It's a combination of like very much overdrive guitars, metal overdrive distortion guitars, the works, but also using a lot of chiptunes, like the sound fonts, the synthesizer sound fonts that are very much associated with retro games. I love this combination. Very nice catchy melody style here. We got a guitar break right here. Without looking up the musical process involved in writing the music, I can kind of tell that the composer or the producer is a guitar player because these kinds of riffs are very guitar based. And, you know, coming from a fellow guitar player and music producer, you know, I kind of know what they're thinking when writing this music. That was so good. That was so good. I love that track. here's the track that you've all been asking me to check out. This track is called It's Pizza Time. And just a little bit of a disclaimer, I've already listened to this before filming this reaction video, but I've only listened to it in passing, and I find that I discover new things when I listen to music more intimately. So let's do this. That is a very prog metal style of break. Jut jut. I love that. Very similar on how I would arrange things. Yeah, giving me a lot of very nostalgic Undertale vibes in a very good way, of course, because of the sound font and the way it's used. I love this contrast. The melody starts with a very, very clear, very piercing sound font with that melody. And then right here we have more of a subdued synth pad, more like a synth pad or more like a synth bell combination. I just love contrasts like that when it comes to music. Yes! Very, very nice and dynamic rhythmic counterpoint. I think people usually know more about melodic counterpoint when there's melody number 1 doing their own thing and melody number 2 doing their own thing. But you listen to them together and they sound good. What is a bit more underrated is what I would say rhythmic counterpoint, like what we're hearing here. There's rhythm number 1 being done by the main melody. And there is another type of rhythm being done by the distorted rhythm guitars. And in a way, they're doing their own kind of melodic counterpoint in a way, but the difference in the rhythm is more prominent right here in this section. So I would say it's more of a rhythmic counterpoint. The way they combine, they create this sort of dynamic tension, dynamic rhythm that makes it more unpredictable and exciting. Yes, that is such a catchy melody. Oh my god, that is gonna be an earworm that's gonna be stuck in my head for, I don't know, for days to come. First of all, I love the simplicity in the writing. There's this very simple melody, very catchy, and then we have the rhythm section doing the basic chords, varying only in rhythmic patterns. I love that. I don't think I've heard that orchestra hit in a long time. There used to be a time, especially in late 80s or early 90s electronic music, especially in electronic dance music, where you would hear this orchestral hit like being overused so much. That particular orchestra hit patch came built in with those Casio-tone synthesizers. I guess music producers at that time, they loved that sound, so they just inserted that in all kinds of music from indie to mainstream. This section is now a bit more atmospheric and ambient style compared to the more straightforward rhythm and melody part of the previous one. This part is kind of a vamp section where there's just a repeated pattern, repeated more subdued chordal pattern to allow a lead guitar player or a keyboardist to do a solo passage. And usually this is the time where they would shred it out, like the fastest notes that they can play. They'll jumble it all in that 4 or 8 bars that they're allotted to. They just take advantage of that because that's their time to show off. To show off their skills, usually applicable to instruments that are monophonic in nature, like a saxophone or a lead guitar or a violin or an electric violin. But I love that show of restraint right here. It's just long tones, long notes, whole notes that are a little bit dissonant, a little bit out of the chord progression, but it still works and it gives more tension. And, you know, again, going back to the simplicity in writing, I love that they showed some restraint and focused more on the color, the harmony, and the atmosphere instead of, you know, flashiness. Yeah, definitely a lot of build-up right here. Sped up tempo. The way that a faster tempo is used sometimes in gaming is to create a sense of tension or urgency or, you know, hurry up, finish the thing. The earliest usage of this that I can remember is in Super Mario Brothers. You know, when the timer from 300 seconds reaches to only 100 seconds, you'll hear that and the background music doubles in tempo. Nice. Okay, I can understand why everyone was like, listen to It's Pizza Time, listen to It's Pizza Time. It's iconic. I can see people singing along to this in a stadium concert. For example, if in a video game music convention like MagFest, and a chiptune artist would play this on stage, people would, you know, jump and dance to this and sing along. It's that catchy. By the way, I'm always on the lookout for new video game music to listen to or to check out. So if you have any suggestions, you can use the content suggestion form in the video description or just post in the comments. Let's continue. And here now is a track called Pepperman Strikes, which is a boss theme. Let's give it a listen. I love the shuffle. It's giving me a bit of dummy or ghost fight vibes from Undertale. Kind of in a similar beat, similar style of genre, a little bit jazzy, a little bit shuffle, but we'll see how it goes. Wow, totally different approach now. This is like jazz fusion style, which I love, by the way. Oh my god. It's such an underrated genre. I highly believe we need more jazz fusion music in video game music. Oh my god, this is the kind of music I would imagine being played in bars, in music bars, and people are just raving and dancing with, with beer bottles raised and stuff like that. Oh my god. I love that the music so far that we've listened to, it's all so heavy sounding, heavy in a heavy metal style, but there's still a distinct melody. I think that's more of a mixing and mastering thing, but it's still so masterfully done, pun intended. Wow. Okay. Again, the theme of simplicity and restraint. Here we got a 4-bar solo part for the lead guitar. But again, they stayed simple. On the simple side, more on the atmosphere and more on the ambience instead of, flashiness. The combination of the chiptune synth melody and the heavy distortion guitars, it's a really good combination because the distortion guitars are kind of mixed on the muffled side. Yes, you can hear the heaviness. You can hear the distortions roar or grumble, the grumbling texture sound that it has. The chiptune synth is just so more on the trebly side, so it stands out in the middle of it all, even when you have all these heavy things happening on the side. Now we have the flashy one. That solo with the keyboard. I love that. Yeah, this song format, this style, the rhythmic language, especially present in the bass and the guitar and the drums, it's very 90s grunge, 90s funk metal, which I love. I grew up in that kind of music. Wow, that metal break in the end caught me a little bit off guard in in a great way. I love that. It's so much similar to how I would arrange metal music because I like surprise breaks where you'll only hear just the solo instrument left alone, floating, and then boom, sudden distortion guitar and drums back and just surprising you with a grand ending like that. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me on this pizza-tastic musical journey. And as always, if you want more of my content, click here.